Hello, everyone. This is JPL, and today I'm joined with
Christopher.
yes, and we're a podcast name in brackets. Anyway, how are you doing today, Christopher?
I'm fine. I'm tired. Um,
Yeah.
so one thing I am honestly just really trying to do is to try to maintain like a normal sleep schedule,
Mm-hmm.
which is something I talk often about, right? Um,
Yeah. I should really make a compilation of every time you've said I'm tired to every time I
yes.
ask that question.
Yes. Anyways, so
Anyway, for you listening, Merry Christmas,
oh
Happy
yeah,
New Year.
yeah,
This will be our
Leslie,
last episode of the year.
unfortunately,
Yeah,
and
and
for a few
depending,
months.
yeah, depending on how our schedules go, it'll be a while before we will next
hmm
give you us.
So with my current English sleep schedule, so let me say,
Hmm?
at the end of the day, I don't want a sleep schedule, but I have a job,
Sure.
and that essentially demands a sleep schedule.
Yeah.
The most ironic part is the fact that it's mostly a night job. So why am I trying to get up at 8 a.m. every morning? It's because there's some days I have to be at work, say around 10, specifically Saturdays. And then we have changeover, which is why I'm going to be MIA for the next couple months. And that will be almost like a normal 8 to 5. It's almost like living in a different time zone. Because most days
Mm-hmm.
it's 2 to 10, but during that time it'll
Yes.
be a normal 8 to 5. So it's like living in a different time zone. I want my sleep schedule to match up the changeover time as much as possible. Ideally, once we enter the Esther show in full time, I'm probably going to shift my sleep schedule to say, like, say waking up at 9. I know that doesn't sound super drastic, but I just
Okay.
don't feel like I can afford that right now. And honestly, even right when changeover hits, I might even shift my sleep schedule a little bit. Say maybe try to wake up at 7. I just feel
Mm.
like 8 right now is like a good medium as it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this weekend is the first weekend in a long while where I've tried to take my sleep schedule seriously. Because most of the time, say after 3 shift Saturday, I come home and I stay up till say like 5 a.m. Because I'm like no responsibilities for 2 days, and then I spend the rest of the weekend trying to fix my sleep schedule for the week. And then it kind of hit me last weekend. I did have a concert, so there's that. But I'm like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
well, that's lame. I'm kind of just, screwing it up every weekend. So this is like the first weekend in a while where I'm actually trying to be better about it. However, yesterday I did fall asleep, say around 9 p.m.
Okay.
Which is kind of early, and I woke up around 5 a.m. today, before 5 a.m. That isn't the most optimal. At least it'll set me up for the week fine, but that just wasn't how I was planning for today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I would have either probably more or less would have liked more sleep. Definitely wouldn't have liked to fall asleep as soon as I did yesterday. Um, yeah, I if I have energy after this podcast, there's definitely some things I need to take care of. I wrote out a to-do list a couple days ago.
Yeah.
What was that yesterday? Oh, it was during church. I made a to-do list during church.
Best time to do it.
The best time to do it, honestly.
You're in
It's
church. You're listening. It's like what I need to do: read my
yes,
Bible, pray
yeah.
to
It's like
God, do the dishes.
I need to do the dishes so bad. Um, yeah, I. So I've been up for more than 12 hours at this point, which I
Sounds
mean,
great.
is normal in a day that you're up
Mm-hmm.
for at least 12 hours. But sleep clock is a little off. I've been inside all day. That's part of it.
Right.
So
Sleep clock going off.
yeah. So
Well, that sounds fun.
yeah, I've hit a lazy point. in the day. I was actually gonna go out to do something, and then you kind of reminded me that you existed. Like, oh yeah, I probably should do that. So
I reminded you that I existed. Yes.
yeah. We didn't set a time for today.
I mean, we never really do.
We never really do, but I feel like at least the last few times I've been like, okay, let's try to get a general time, or
Yeah.
let's shoot for this time. But we didn't for Monday. We said Monday. Okay, cool. Completely.
I mean, I
Didn't
said
follow
Monday.
up with
You
that.
never confirmed that.
We didn't.
No.
Dang it. I'm sorry.
It's like Monday, and usually you were like, okay, cool. Nothing.
Oh, I think this was unintentional, but do you know what I think I did? I think I took a play out of your book.
And
or
that
you don't reply.
okay.
And
So you took it as a mutual agreement. No,
Yes.
I did that. I sure, like I said, it's okay. Like he's not gonna reply. Okay, that's fine. He will message me when he's ready to talk. You know, we get later into the day. It's like I'll make sure that he's awake. I'll send him a message, which is just a GIF.
I think my intention was to say, let's shoot for the morning time, but I never sent that message.
Okay. I wish I got that because I could have done it in the morning time. I mean,
yeah, probably would have been for the best.
Probably, but here we are.
Here we are.
You didn't go to that thing. I don't know what that thing was.
Yeah. Oh well.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Who needs a social life? And we've got the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess also, like at this point, like I'm tired enough where I'm scared about me driving right now.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, it'd be better to crash and burn on the podcast than in a car. So
like that one time still.
I don't know which one time, but there's
a
few times.
That one time where you fell asleep in the middle.
Oh my god.
I'm never gonna bring that down. I'm just.
Okay, so are you referring to when it was just me and you?
Yes.
Okay, because here's the thing.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't think you remember this then. I fell asleep when it was me, you, and CJ.
I think I vaguely remember something like that too.
Yeah, because I definitely remember, like, the episode release and the title I had no recollection of. And so I think you told me to listen to that part of the episode. And I listened to that part, so I had no recollection of, and that's where the title came from. Yeah, I'm very positive I fell asleep during that moment.
I mean, something happened. That was a long time ago, though.
Maybe, I mean, it could have been I had to use the bathroom, but I doubt. I'm pretty positive.
Oh, you mean the waiting for Christopher? There is one where you went to the bathroom.
Yeah, no,
I was waiting there for like 15
but that
20
wasn't
minutes.
with CJ. I know with CJ, I distinctly do not remember a specific part of the podcast. I'm pretty positive I fell asleep.
Yeah, because you left to do something.
Did I leave to do something?
Yeah, me and CJ were there talking.
Oh, okay. Then I guess that's what it was.
We were talking about something. I don't know. Again, that was so long ago. Back when we were still relevant.
Yeah, when college allowed us to be relevant.
Well, it's still relevant
college
to
friends
me.
got married yesterday. Congrats to her.
Yes.
I don't think you knew her. Actually, no, you might have, because she was school student body president, but you also probably didn't even care about those. So
I never paid attention to school politics.
Yeah.
I don't even know who's running.
It's not even season yet.
It was that season. I always avoid those people during that season. They're so annoying. Like,
God,
you're just trying to walk around at a mosque and some guy with a clipboard goes up to you. It's like, hey, do your vote? I'm like, no.
Can I take a moment?
Come on.
Can I take a moment to pray for a moment?
No.
What? No. How dare you refuse my Christianity?
No,
Lord
I need to go to
God,
my
I thank
ethics
you so much
class.
for John. I pray that he has at least one class in DeMoss in his last semester, and so that he'll get entangled up with some voting issue.
It's not going to happen.
In your name, Jesus, amen.
It's not going to happen.
Lord God, I pray that you'll move one of Gershon's classes to DeMoss, and then John will tell me about the
I
story
don't
about
have
Gershon playing
Gershner
Lugway.
next semester.
That's a shame.
It is a shame.
How do you not have Gershner in your last semester?
They're more like writing for media classes, is what it is.
So I guess you'd have Carrie Martin for one class?
I think I have them for both.
Okay. So what are your classes for next semester?
Classes for next semester. I have screenwriting, which I will be taking online because it's a conflict of interest in my schedule. Then I'm taking cinematography and audio for film. And then I'll be taking writing for media. And then writing for media is just to fill my full-time schedule requirement. And then the actual one that goes to my thing. If I could take this moment to stall and let my thing load, which is not loading, but I believe it's...
Okay, but you have one class online, so it should be hopefully an easier semester.
Yeah, the online class usually is easier. But it's a shame, because screenwriting, everyone's like, take it in person, and I would, but I don't have that schedule. And if it's an online option, I'm going to take the option.
Right.
Because, what am I taking? Going down, down, down. Producing audio content, that's the one.
Why is the camera not working?
I don't know.
Producing audio content is... So producing audio content, is that with Stillwell?
Rashad Gopi.
Okay. Guess not.
A study of the theory and practice of writing and producing content for radio broadcast and digital streaming. Formats include news, sports, entertainment, educational, drama, and podcast. One of the prerequisites was the writing for media. And, I don't need a prerequisite, actually. I was able to get past it, but I was like, you know what? I'll take that, too, so I can be a full-time student and get the credits that I need. So I'm taking that. All I need is one more thing of Caesar, and I'm done, really. So, I've met that age of the road, and you're taking pictures of me.
I am. So, do you want to know why? Because I was trying to take pictures earlier, and it's been so long since I've used the camera, and so I'm like trying to figure out like the controls on it again.
Okay. Well, I hope they turn out good. Hope the exposure as well when you're taking pictures of the screen and the light bulb, and all that jazz.
And again, it's not that I don't care. It's me like because I was doing something for Semper Metalum and I was like flubbing a little bit with the camera. Oh,
right.
This makes more sense now. Sorry, I am listening. At least this is better than me falling asleep.
Yeah, it is. It is much better. Keep in mind this is our last podcast, the last podcast of the year.
Podcast of the year.
So yeah, it's a big occasion. It's the end of our season. Both in the podcast and in, I guess, whatever this is, Christmas season. Do I look gorgeous in those pictures? I'm sure I do.
Yeah, I think you do. This is interesting with some things.
All right.
Anyways, I think I got something learned, so I'm happy about that. Yay!
All right, let's go over what I watched.
Yes, or you want me to go first?
I guess if
Because
you
my
have
list
stuff,
is usually pretty short.
I'd see what you got.
So I am currently, I currently have an Apple TV trial.
Okay.
Because it's like I said, like 3 months or something. Because there's a show on there called, I think it's called Severance.
Okay.
I really want to see. Because I hear it's really good. I've heard from 2 people say it's really good, and kind of seeing the essence of the show, the little bit I know, I think it has potential to be really good. Possibly in line with like Nolan mind bending crap. You know what I mean? Because that's the go-to comparison. I haven't started it yet because I'm scared of the word called binging. Who knows? Maybe after this, maybe I'll get the urge to start binging it, or maybe I'll feel the need to be productive and do productive things. I don't know. Regardless, someone else that those people at work, he also recommended a show on there called Ted Lasso. So I kind of decided to give it a shot. I actually watched the first episode a few weeks ago. I didn't mention it because it was just a one episode. And I think I actually had things to talk about what I watched.
Right.
So watched the one episode, and I'm just like, so far, like, it was like, I guess, because again, like when the word comedy is thrown around, you throw it at such a high bar. My favorite example I give is that there was a pastor who came to Liberty who spoke. I get the name off the top of my head. He wasn't introduced as a comedian. I don't think he identifies as a comedian. But, we have, dare I say, a little view of when we think of a pastor. Someone who's going to there, pace around a few times, boring. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This guy was hilarious. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, like, just funny. But when it's announced that this person is a comedian, you hold this person to such a high bar. And it's almost like as a result of you putting him to such a high bar, it makes him less funny. Because you're like, you just need to be good. It's funny because, like, even like when I scroll on like Instagram, like when I come across a comedian clip, half the times I'll skip it because I'm not expecting it to be funny. Or the other times I'm so stoic about the idea of you being a comedian that I'm like, should have been funnier. Wasn't that funny? You know what I mean? Anyways, sorry. So I know the show has been referred to as a comedy. I still don't think it's top tier comedy. But it wasn't necessarily like the best first impression of an episode, right? Anyways, fast forward to a couple of days ago, and I wake up kind of early. Didn't want to necessarily do anything because I had something to do in the morning, but I had a few hours until I had to do that thing. So I'm like, okay, I watched episode 2, then 3, then 4. And what I started to kind of see what was kind of interesting about the show was its heart. It was kind of interesting because I was asking for some reason we kind of compared it a little to The Office, but he's like, but the difference with this show is the fact that it has heart. The Office is just stupid. You know what I mean? They do their stupid crap, and that's all it is. Well, and there's the show that is stupid, but also like the main character has a heart for people despite him being what he is. And so, yeah, and then the next day I watched episode 5, which dealt with his failing marriage, and I was really surprised how much that kind of rocked me, and dare I say ruined my day. So yeah, I don't think The show is full of top tier comedy, but this show, I think, is something I'm gonna enjoy casually. I think there's 2 or 3 seasons, so it'll be a good wake up in the morning, watch an episode or 2 kind of show. So yeah, just seeing the first 5 episodes, that's all I've seen. That's really
okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of Apple TV, this reminded me. There was something I wanted to bring up weeks ago about Bob Iger replacing Chapek as Disney CEO. And the rumor was that he was preparing Disney to be sold to Apple. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
I mean, obviously, Apple would benefit from that, arguably.
Right.
But I think the ironic thing is the fact that Disney, first off, not just them eating up all these brands, but the fact that they are the brand of entertainment.
Right.
Like, if there was to be some merge like that, it would be like on the level of Warner renaming themselves kind of thing. Or them operating purely as Disney despite being owned by Apple. You know what I mean?
Right.
I guess my issue is the fact that this kind of sounds like a cop-out answer, but my cop-out answer is it's too early to tell.
It is too early to tell. But historically, Disney has wanted to buy Apple, but no dice. They've had good relations with Apple. Steve Jobs being part of the development of Pixar. And I don't know. It's just interesting to think about. They sell Disney to Apple, and that will be Iger's last thing as president.
That would be quite the empire it would be.
It would be the massive empire.
I guess it's just the idea of me not loving the idea of empires. You know?
Sure.
I think on paper, in theory, I don't necessarily have anything against it, despite my bias of using Android or whatever. But looking at the industry, just Apple is massive, Disney is massive. Is Disney that scared of losing money? I do know that they did lose a lot of money.
It's less about them being scared of losing money. I believe the idea being thrown around is that Iger wants to set up a legacy, and having that merger would be his biggest name for his legacy. Being, I am the last president of Disney. I don't know if that's the real motive, but
if that's the real motive, that's a terrible motive, I think.
It's something, but no, it would work for Apple because then they would be able to put their Apple TV stuff on a Disney Plus, where people are more willing to go and see it than just buying a whole other streaming service like Apple TV. Because a whole lot of people are not going to Apple TV because well, it's just Apple TV, even though they apparently have some really good stuff that nobody knows about.
Like several ones.
Right.
I think just in general, just the future of streaming services is going to be something that we'll have to keep our eyes on, because I think to some degree we've kind of hit the peak of streaming services, or at least the presence of new streaming services, major streaming services.
I think we're starting to go past the prime of the streaming service. Because now everybody's making poor decisions. Disney is now with ads. HBO Max has been, going crazy.
Oh, speaking of HBO Max, already have taken off Westworld.
I know.
That is just wild.
That's so wild. That's an HBO original.
I am hearing that Warner really doesn't have money now. And them taking off Westworld to possibly put it on some like ad-based service for free, if that's what they're doing.
Really?
Kind of confirmed. That's what I've kind of heard. I could be wrong. I don't know. I think that's what I saw in an article. So it kind of makes sense because I feel like that show is too popular to be a tax write-off show.
It is too popular to be a tax write-off.
But also, like, the amount of things they've written off as tax write-offs.
It's also because they're not going to have the service, those shows on. They don't have to pay the actors for royalties.
Ooh.
So they're saving themselves money. So
yeah, I guess maybe if it doesn't go on one of those ad-based services, then they don't have to pay them money. I think like just looking at those things, it kind of confirms the idea that Warner is kind of poor right now.
I mean,
which I would have never expected.
I mean, they've been making so many bad decisions. DC is a debatable decision to make. That's, oh my gosh.
I think DC is arguably the only positive they have going on.
It is, even though the news is very negative.
I think the issue with DC is Gunn, and not necessarily his decisions. It's not even necessarily Gunn himself. It's the fact that these news bits are being leaked to the press, and then the press reports them, and then Gunn has to defend crap.
Right.
When we should really be just looking forward to, hopefully, when Kevin Feige takes the stage and says, "Here's the deal. This is what we're doing," and things kind of hitting Twitter piece by piece is probably not what they've wanted. Even to the point where Gunn had to shoot down something and say, "This is not the case."
Right.
This is, I think, at the end of the day, what will happen with DC is for the best. Honestly, I think whatever Gunn will do is better than we have right now.
Yeah.
But how the rollout, I don't think is what he wanted, and the rollout is making him look bad to the point where, because of the Henry Cavill thing, there's a petition, fire Gunn.
Yeah.
So ironic, because those same people are so excited about Gunn, but it's because they thought Gunn was going to give them everything they wanted, and that's not what Gunn is there to do. Gunn is there to.
Well, it's not just Gunn. You also still have to deal with Zaslav as well.
Zaslav, and then there's that other guy who's also co-CEO of DC.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of.
Yeah, but no. Once again, all the whole drama. It's like, yes, this is gonna happen next week. Sorry, actually, no. It's not. It is messy, just how everything is. But hopefully things work out for the better. They're starting over, kind of.
I am personally very entertained. I'm not gonna lie.
Sure.
Because me not necessarily being a DC fan, but again, kind of just knowing the fact that like the Erasing Nothing is set in stone right now. They're still working on crap, and people are impatient. And again, Snyderverse fans are a little too passionate. So when things really don't go their way, they cry about it a lot. So and again, it's not the fact that I hate the Snyderverse. It's not necessarily the fact that I hate DC. I'm more or less entertained by people's reactions and overreactions. And at the end of the day, I just hope that the future DC will be bright. That's what I hope at the end of the day.
And sure, I think something.
Because again, there's one friend I have who was super excited about Gunn, being head of DC, and then also was super excited to see Henry Cavill in Black Adam. And then the news about Henry Cavill not being Superman broke, and he's like, I'm not supporting the Gunn stuff. I'm not supporting DC except for whatever is within the Batman franchise. And then do you know what he posted a day or two later? He said, this actor would be great as Batman in the Gunverse. Like, holy crap, you said you're not supporting any Gunn movies. Like,
yeah, no, it's
honestly, hilarious.
Honestly, the more you think about it, it's like the initial reaction is like, man, I hate this. But then you start thinking about it's like, it's actually good. I don't like the way they're doing it.
Also, Henry Cavill, I think, is getting the Garfield treatment. Garfield appears in No Way Home, and everyone's like, yeah, he's my favorite Spider-Man. No, you all hated the Amazing Spider-Man movies. And I think that's the same thing Cavill is getting when people, didn't like Man of Steel, and then now everyone's claiming that he's the best Superman.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were claiming Man of Steel was the best, but it's also they wanted the sequel to it, which would have addressed more stuff. Honestly, a lot of mishandling.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
And then also in terms of if it's true about Warner low on money, they can't afford their name talent that they've had. Be probably better off to find unknown talent that they can pay small paychecks than hit it big with a movie, and then as they become more popular, then people afford them. For example, like Gal Gadot, now her being a name from a no name,
right?
Her pay if she was to have a third Wonder Woman movie, I think the book said that she was going to get $20 million. I think from the second movie she got $12 million. I don't know how much she got from the first movie, but that's a lot of money. I know people have been paid more in the past, but that is probably not money that Warner is willing to pay at the moment if they are truly low on funds.
Right.
So they probably would want to start fresh with unknown talent that they can pay tiny checks, and then as DC does well, then and those actors.
Well, I believe the thing is that we're gonna recast the main characters, but we still want to use these actors for something else later down the line. So they'll probably think of having Ben Affleck as being some kind of mentor character, even Gal Gadot being a character like that to the new Wonder Woman.
Did you hear that they're hoping to recast, I think, the Aquaman actor?
Aquaman? The actor? Oh, yeah, no, definitely. The actor is definitely going to be recast as a new character. I think, actually, he's the best fit for that character.
Mm-hmm.
He's the perfect fit for that character, actually. So, if that happens, I wouldn't mind it. As long as they do it right.
Mm-hmm. So, I guess I didn't fully ask you your thoughts, but how are you feeling, seeing the changes?
I mean, it worries me, but it's more like I'm saddened that, okay, so we're done with this Superman. Okay, this will be it for Batman. We're not getting Wonder Woman 3. Well, I mean, not quote unquote. They didn't officially say it was canceled. It's not gonna go with the current direction that they were going with. So we'll see what that happens. Most likely, it's not gonna happen. But that means that Patty Jenkins is free to continue doing Rogue Squadron. That Star Wars movie that was supposed to be coming out next year. But hey, at least it still exists. I'm glad she confirmed that. So we'll get that eventually. Yeah, no, it's just crazy. How
are you feeling like what we've had at DC for essentially like the past 10 years? This whole thing being a mess, not ending well. How it also reflects on the DC timeline that you made for me. Like,
I haven't really been fully happy with the way DC's been going since the Justice League movie. Because since then, they've been trying to go towards different directions, and they've not all worked. I think most of them have not worked. There's been a couple. Like, I like Joker. I like the Batman. I have not seen Black Adam. Like, I still have hopes that the stuff that comes out will be fine and good, but, you know, it is what it is.
Do you hope Pattinson will be the new DC Batman, or do you hope that stays separate?
I do hope that there's a separate thing for it. Like, I could understand if they launched the new thing based around that series. Like, I could see how that could work, but I kind of would prefer they did something different with a different Batman, just to get more variety. And like finding an actor that's a little bit more of an unknown, I would probably like that better.
Because also, like, people love the new Batman and his dark atmosphere, and I feel like, especially for it to be such a contrast against Marvel, I feel like many people would like it if you know the new DC thing was within that world of the Batman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Then the question is, like, how are you going to introduce that new Batman in this universe? Are you going to have another Batman film? It's gonna, yeah. You gotta think about it.
No, what if like things were introduced in that universe, not necessarily the other way around?
You mean introduce? No, explain that.
Like, it's the Batman's world.
No, I know, I get that. That would be the most logical thing to do. But like hypothetically, if they were starting over with a different universe, not related to the Batman, because I believe that's what James Gunn was confirming, that it wasn't that. At least that's the case for now. Like, how would you introduce this new Batman? With his own film? Because we already have Pattinson's Batman's going on. Or would you introduce him as a side character in another film?
I do wonder if Gunn is going to start building up DC without Batman, and then eventually merging the Batman universe.
Once we get to the Justice League film, like, maybe Batman shows up. It's like, who are you guys?
We'll see.
Get out of my city. I work alone.
Just Batman things.
Yeah, honestly, no, none of this new stuff changes the way that my list really sets anything up, because my list is still the same. Okay. You can either watch the animated stuff, you can watch it historically, chronologically, or when the films come out, or just you can chunk them up like this.
So honestly, I feel like if Gunn truly has a plan, which I mean, I bet he does, but if you kind of know what I mean. But I would be somewhat interested to see, what he's going to do with DC. You know what I mean? And kind of like almost treat it like as the MCU.
So DC, you start introducing yourself to DC through the James Gunn stuff.
Possibly, but I am also not positive I will. because there is very much a possibility that maybe his Suicide Squad movie is part of his universe, and that is not a place I want to start.
Honestly, that would be very convoluted because that's a mixture of the past. Because it's like that's part of the DCEU. So having that be part of his brand new thing just wouldn't make sense.
Do you think it's possible that he could just use the same cast and start over?
Honestly, leave Suicide Squad out of it. That's what I say. Just start with the heroes first.
Mm-hmm.
The villains, they don't need to be in their own film in that manner.
Yet. Okay.
Yeah, because like Thunderbolts, that's pretty much the Suicide Squad, and that's how many years later? So many.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way you should do it, really.
Speaking of Thunderbolts, I'm really curious how they're going to approach that. I feel like they're kind of on track with Marvel. I feel like the Thunderbolts are going to be more of good guys than bad guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of Thunderbolts, that is coming at the same time as Stranger Things 5. So that means they'll have to share David Harbour. And then also realize the fact that the director of Deadpool 3 has had his hand in Stranger Things for a long time. Well, at least one episode of Stranger Things. That will probably also film around the same time as Stranger Things as well. So, it's kind of interesting how those worlds are kind of going to collide. I was just thinking, if I was David Harbour in that situation, I honestly would not want to be shared around for two different productions simultaneously like that in Atlanta. You know what I mean?
Right.
That just seems exhausting. It just I don't know if you know this, but like after WandaVision wrapped, like 2 days later, they started on Multiverse of Madness, or something like that. And I bet yes, that was exhausting to its degree, but also like at least they weren't filming at the same time.
Right.
I just can't imagine filming.
Like Lord of the Rings filming 3 films at the same time.
But at least like that's a continuous, despite being 3 movies, that is one production. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like the Lord of the Rings thing is more comparable to the WandaVision Multiverse of Madness. And Elizabeth Olsen being in both. But like playing 2 different characters for 2 different productions. One being a TV show, and we know how long season 4 was, and a movie. You know what I mean?
That'd be similar to Back to the Future with a star Michael J. Fox because he was a TV actor. So, like, he'd have to do his TV episode, then immediately go to the set to film the movie, get very little sleep for months.
That sounds horrible. You know what I mean?
But like, it launched his career.
But like David Harbour is not in that position where he needs to launch the career. You know what I mean? And I understand at the end of the day, scheduling conflicts or whatever, Marvel wanting to, throw things out like they do right now. But I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if I was in that position, I don't know if I'd be willing to go through 2 productions so heavily like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So, what I watched.
What you watched?
This past week. So, the movie is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio film. It's this Pinocchio film that's stop motion animated. Really well done. It takes a not so lighthearted version of the story. Not the Disney-fied version. There's stakes. There's good emotion in it. There's a realistic manner put into the motivations of Geppetto and his creations. No, it is a brilliant retelling of the story, and it doesn't shy away from the realities of life and love. In this case, where they set it around World War II in Italy. So it's very interesting. It was really fun to watch. My mother didn't like it. She thought it'd be too intimidating for kids, and that's why kids are messed up these days. But I get it.
I guess everything that's animation is only for kids. Because adults don't watch animation.
Well, it's also because, yeah, and also with that, kids will probably see something that's animated and be like, that's for me. And be like, holy crap, what is this? That's her fears and worries with this.
John, how do we stop the stigma?
Give it 10 years.
Okay.
Give it 10 years. We'll see.
I think the whole animation for children and adults thing is interesting because at the end of the day,
it's gonna end one day for sure.
I hope so.
Like if we can get where we are today with social rights and all that stuff, we can get to that point with accepting children's animation is not just for kids. It's gonna happen one day.
It better. But also, to counter what your mom's saying, it's really unfortunate how parents have not been in control of what their children watch.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I'm very worried about having kids. Because, I have to be really careful because it's really easy for us dumb kids to just find stuff and be like, oh, what's this? I'm sure we both have had experiences like that. In my TV watching, I finished that MTV Spider-Man series. Very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's surprisingly okay, actually.
Okay.
It is. But, it's weird. It's okay, but not okay at the same time. Here's what I wrote. A surprisingly okay version of Spider-Man. The animation has not aged well in terms of design and quality, but some of the movement is still good. Under certain lighting choices, it's something that we could see today. Where the series falls is that nothing in the show is consistent. An episode ends with an interesting idea or even revelation, but doesn't get touched upon again. Like one episode, Harry's like, maybe Spider-Man's not that bad of a guy. Next episode, I hate Spider-Man. He's the whole worst. It's very consistent. It really feels like that episodes are aired out of order, as there is no clear continuity. I think that was part of the case. But even still, it's very inconsistent in between episodes.
Mm-hmm.
This show is very early 2000s, and many elements don't work today. Overall, a decent watch with little impact. I've also continued watching through the 70s Hulk show. That's partially why I sent you that GIF on Discord, because that's what I've been watching. Fun stuff. As before, each episode is the exact same formula. Bruce shows up into this town, gets a job. Some ruffians do stuff. He turns to the Hulk. Reporter shows up. Bruce is like, no, not this guy. Turns to the Hulk again. Stops the bad guys. hitchhikes out of town with sad music playing during the credits. That's the formula of every episode. So you can watch any of them. Yeah, and it works. It's fun. It's ridiculous at times, but it's fun. I'm getting close to finishing that. You know, I mainly watch it during my breaks.
The whole show that CJ loves a lot?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Do you love it as much as he does?
He loves older TV shows like MASH. I do like him, but I don't. I think there's a quality that doesn't quite match what we could do today,
right,
in terms of visual effects and how we edit things. But I feel like what we lost today is just some of the heart that came into these older shows. Even just the way the shows are told as well. I'm getting close to finishing this. This is something that I've been watching for the past couple of years. Like during my breaks, I'll watch a few episodes. So hopefully, I'll be done by this. By the end of this year, maybe even by the end of this week. We'll see. I'm that close. I've started another animated show called the Superhero Squad Show. I'll get to that next time, whenever that is. So far, it's definitely made for kids. Oh boy. And that's the main stuff I've watched. I've also continued watching through the anime Naruto because it's on Hulu. Finally got back. And the reason why I stopped is because the English dub only went through so many episodes on Hulu. They have since added more English dub, so I'm going through it more. My goodness, there's too many episodes. So that's how I spend my nights, watching that. Spend my mornings watching whatever cartoon I want to see. Then my rest of the day watching Hulk. But yeah, no. Yesterday was the final game of the World Cup.
Yes.
And that is over. It was France versus Argentina. Spoilers for any of you people who don't know sports. Argentina won. This was one of the most exciting games I've seen ever. Yeah, I watched it with my dad. It was just super exciting the entire time. Argentina was like dominating the entire game. Like 80 minutes out of 90, they're like winning 2-0. They're like 10 minutes away from winning. France comes in. It's like, we're not done yet. They scored 2 goals. And we got into overtime. So we go into overtime. Argentina scores. It's like, yeah, we're going to win. They're 30 minutes away from winning. France is like, no. And they score again. So then we go into our penalty shootouts. Argentina wins because they're better at that. And so they won. Hooray. Yeah. And so Lionel Messi can now be declared the greatest player of all time because he's finally won his World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Which, happy for the guy.
I saw his name trending.
Yeah, happy for the guy. He's like gone everything except for that thing. He's finally got it. Now he can retire. Yeah. No, yeah, it's interesting. Like I've known Messi all my life as, he's the best of all time, always the best. And I've always just held a grudge against that because, stupid kids. It's like, man, I mean, he's the best. I want my players to be the best. And so I'd always root against him in Argentina all the time. Until recent years where it's like, you know what? It's his last time. I'll root for him. Let him have the win. He's more of a humble guy than Ronaldo. So he won. It's like, oh, yay, good for him. And that's that. Until next year when it's in the United States.
Oh, is it actually?
It will be in the U.S. I'm happy for that. I want to go to a game.
Mm-hmm. You got to start saving now.
Got to start saving now. Instead of getting married, I'll go to a game.
Yeah.
Go with my dad, probably.
Well, want to see ITZY in concert so bad.
You want to do what? ITZY?
I want to see ITZY in concert so bad.
Oh, I bet. Yes. I would love to go to a World Cup game. It's on my bucket list.
Bucket list.
It is. It's on my bucket list.
It's on my bucket list.
That's nice. Very nice.
Very nice.
So you've not listened to the featured mix.
Not listened to the featured mix.
So I don't know when we're gonna get to
that. I wanted to. So I am currently working on a list for Semper Macallum, Best Albums of the Year, and honestly, I'm not happy with what I've listened to this year. So right now, the priority is to listen to some of those albums. And just as I am bad at listening to your mixes, I'm just bad at listening to new albums in general. So I haven't honestly really done either, but also it's been hard scheduling things as relates to that. So
I
want to get the feature mix like out of the way as it relates to it essentially being an easy mix and this possibly being it and confirmed now is our last episode of the year. But yeah.
Oh well.
I'm sorry.
All right, that's fine. I also sent you a couple videos because this was something that we were talking about last week.
Right.
About story in video games.
Yeah.
So I took a little time to just find out some research into it. One video was talking about specifically how video game writing can be broken down to three things. That's the plot, the characters, and the lore. Plot is actually the least important thing in video game stories.
Interesting.
Because if you break down the plots of each video game, it's done to this very simplest thing. You have good guy, you have bad guy. Good guy must stop bad guy. There you go. What most video games are based around is character. And so really you play a game to learn about a character or create a character and experience what this character does, how they react to things, what's their history. And then you have the third element, which is lore, which really builds up the world. It tells you the history of maybe other characters, an object, a land, random stuff, which is something that you never really explore when watching a film. Because in film, you don't have the time to stop and learn about this random object just sitting in the corner of a room. Which you have the option to do in video games, which led to the second video with a very pretentious title of Video Games Have Become the Highest Form of Human Storytelling and Nobody's Noticed. I hate the presentation in this video. It's so cringy. But there are some good points being made in how with video games you get to decide things, but in films you just sit and watch what they put in front of you. It's more in depth than that, kind of, but that's the basic thing there. So that's what I give you.
Cool. I am excited to try to take a dive into those.
Sure. Yeah. You don't have to, but
good background material.
Yeah, like if you were just actually intrigued about wanting to know more about why story matters in gaming, there you go. There you go. So, what else do we want to talk about in this closing of the year? We could talk about our favorite moments of this past year.
Favorite moments this past year.
Yeah.
I think pretty fun moment this past year is when you came to visit me.
Of course. How could we forget that?
That was a pretty fun moment.
Came and visited you, introduced you to Star Wars. We played mini golf.
You introduced me to Star Wars.
Played mini golf.
Oh, speaking of Star Wars. So if you were to rank Star Wars projects, where would Andor rank?
Andor.
Top 3, top 5?
Ooh. Definitely top 10.
The fact you say top 10 makes me really curious what that top 10 looks like.
Well, keep in mind there's 9 of the main films, 3 side films, and a couple TV shows. There's really not a whole lot outside of the top 10. So,
see, that's why I want now a top 10. If you top 5, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Now you say top 10, that's like almost all of Star Wars. Gosh darn it, John.
I know. That's why I made the joke. Top 10.
Making me see that in my teeth, John.
It's hard. I don't like ranking Star Wars. I usually consider it all as one thing, except in recent years, with the sequel trilogy making me think, okay, I'm not liking some of the recent stuff.
Right.
So, Andor, it's hard to say, because right now I really liked it. It's like, it's up there. So how I can clunk it up is that the main 6 films, let's have prequels and original trilogy be its own thing instead of individual film. Okay. So I guess with that basis, it would be in the top 5.
Okay. Still interesting though. What is it called? Clone Wars. Still, is that like your favorite Star Wars project, or just favorite?
It is my favorite. Period? It is my favorite. Okay. Clone Wars number 1, number 2 being prequels.
Oh, is it actually the prequels?
Yeah, I love the prequels.
Okay, I actually didn't recall that because I feel like I just get such a negative vibe.
It really, if you grew up watching the prequels, it's your favorite thing. That's really what it is.
Okay.
And then, going down from there, it's like, oh, then it's original trilogy, and then it's like Andor and Mandalorian and Rebels.
Book of Boba Fett. I'm kidding.
I mean, I'll mush that with Mandalorian, I guess.
I guess that makes sense.
Because they're kind of the same thing.
What is your least favorite Star Wars project of all time?
That's interesting. It'd have to be Resistance, Star Wars Resistance. That's the animated show that's supposed to take place during the sequel trilogy. And it was like, man, I really want an animated show set in the sequel trilogy. And like, we announced this. Like, oh, good. I want to learn about this. We got nothing from that show. It was played so dumb for kids. It was just so bad. Animation wasn't great. It was really a waste. Like the protagonist was like really one of the worst protagonists ever. So incompetent of everything. Just a total joke. I just didn't buy anything. It really was a waste.
So you'd rather watch episode 8 than
that? Yes, actually. You have to see it to believe it. Resistance is just not good.
One of those things.
It's one of those things.
Okay.
Just like when the teaser trailer came out, it was like one of the worst rated Star Wars things on YouTube. The trailer. I will send you the trailer to Resistance.
Oh, is it that bad that I would understand how bad it is?
The trailer does nothing. The show. It's just. I don't want to think about it. I never think about Resistance. I forget it exists at times. That's
so when I do my Star Wars binge, should I skip Resistance?
See, Resistance doesn't even affect the universe at all. So you don't really ever need to watch it.
So I was thinking about because I've teased about Marvel binge, right?
Yeah.
And I was really thinking about this year. Because if we're going to talk about highlights about this year, Marvel hasn't been. And the more I think about Marvel this year and binge and such, makes me less wanting to do so. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And even though that would mean, including the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. thing, but I think right now, I just struggle to watch things as is. And I think there's a lot of other content I do want to watch in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I suck at consuming content, period. Whether it's your mixtapes, music I want to listen to, TV, and movies. So it's like I probably should prioritize things I haven't seen. At least in this current moment. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
I think there's a degree where I might be more willing to go through Star Wars than Marvel. And again, not necessarily because I like Star Wars, because I don't.
But there's a lot new to experience with Star Wars, whereas Marvel. I mean, Marvel, you have the TV shows, which is kind of new, but you've had more time with Marvel in the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think also I am excited to watch Andor. I hope it's not overhyped, but I'm just hearing how good it is. So it's good.
See, with that, you might think it's overhyped.
But also, in comparison to the rest of Star Wars, I might like it. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't have a high view of Star Wars.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're not going to get a high view of Star Wars from this trailer I just sent you. I mean, that's for sure.
Anyways, highlights this year. What was the best movie that released this year, in your opinion?
I have to decide that because of the top 5 of the year podcast that I do every year.
Oh.
So, just looking with what I've seen, even though I may not feel like it, it seems like The Batman is the best of the year.
So why don't you feel like it? I mean, feel like
I don't know. I just feel like there could be something that would top it, but no. I like Batman, the Batman, but it's not one where it's like, because normally the top of my year is like one that I want to rewatch all the time. I don't want to rewatch the Batman all the time.
I'm curious. Did you watch Everything Everywhere All at Once?
I did not know.
That might be my top, and I mean, I don't know necessarily how often I want to watch it.
I kind of wish No Way Home was this year, to be honest. I would put that on top.
What was your list last year then?
I think No Way Home was at top. Was it?
I don't know.
I don't. It's close. Last year we had some good stuff. The Snyder Cut. We had Godzilla vs. Kong. Yeah, no, it's a interesting list. That might have been the top though. Spider-Man. Yeah, it's looking like The Batman will be the top film of the year. I think I might include Multiverse of Madness, just because even though I was disappointed with how it didn't really do much with the multiverse, I think if I just took the story by itself, it's a decent single-off adventure.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's a fun one-off adventure, but like I'm very disappointed with the concept not being utilized. And there is some good directing in it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Now this year, I really like this semester particularly. It's one of my best semesters. I've got a lot of A's, which is really rare. My GPA is back to a 3.0.
Yay.
That's great. It's been a while. Been a while. So glad that's back. We'll see if I can maintain it this next semester. I mixed the show. It's been good. I visited you.
Yes.
I watched the World Cup. Yeah. That's... What a time. What a fun year. It's over already. Now I have to get ready for next year.
Mm-hmm. Gonna be big next year for you.
Big next year. Have to find a job. Have to watch less shows. I've watched so much stuff this year. It's been a good year for watching stuff. just look at my Letterboxd and my serialized. Look at how many shows I've watched.
I have a question. Do you have a favorite show that released this year? Or was it a lot of old shows?
Oh my gosh, have a favorite show that released this year?
The only thing I can think of was I forgot about that. Yeah, I was like the only other thing I could remember was Stranger Things, and I doubt you'd be hesitant to put that number one.
I know I don't think Stranger Things is at number one.
Yeah,
number one.
I like it.
What did I watch? What did I watch this year? Stuff. I've watched a lot. My diary is so full of things that I've watched. It's not She-Hulk, so don't worry about that.
Oh.
It's not She-Hulk. It's not Lord of the Rings. Cobra Kai. Ooh. Really good season. Cobra Kai. Better Call Saul. Yeah, Better Call Saul was good. I'm
struggling.
It didn't really start out that great this year. We got some better stuff later on.
So how are you feeling looking at the future? Like 23. Like
23?
What?
Hopefully it's good. We're getting at least 3 Star Wars shows. At least 2 within the next 3 months. We're getting a animated show plus The Mandalorian. Then we're getting Ahsoka. Then we're gonna get. I think we're getting the Acolyte. Maybe that's probably 24 though.
Acolyte hasn't even started shooting yet, right?
It has.
Oh, it has.
Yeah, we've had some set photos come out. They looks interesting.
Is Acolyte pre or?
It's pre.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the pre one. Yeah, no. It should be interesting next year. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully Indiana Jones is good. Hopefully Into the Spider-Verse is good.
Ooh, so yeah, that trailer released. Did we talk about that?
I think we did. No, we did not.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Honestly, I've never liked any of the Spider-Verse trailers.
Yeah, I didn't really like the trailer myself.
Yeah, because I don't think the trailer really captures the film that great. A clip would do better than a trailer, to be honest. So I've never liked any of their trailers, but I think the film will play out better than what we got in the trailer. We also got a trailer for the Barbie movie.
Sorry, just real quickly. Is the Spider-Verse movie something you want to see in theaters or not?
I think so.
Because again, just watching the trailer kind of gave me PTSD of like how visual it is. I just don't know how. I don't think I can do it.
No, I can do it. I watched it with Mom in the theaters when that came out. Yeah, no, I want to watch in theaters. If not, the theaters in the Dollar Theater. The Barbie trailer came out, which is interesting.
Yeah. I didn't know how I felt about that.
That's interesting. I'm kind of intrigued. The opening is an homage to the Space Odyssey film, which.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't get that because you're not a film guy.
I didn't get that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and then we also got a trailer for Oppenheimer.
I haven't seen yet. How is it?
It's interesting.
Did Nolan get to detonate a real atomic bomb?
Do a real one now, but they got a practical. They got a practical explosion for the atomic bomb.
Cool.
So he got something made, even though it's not the real thing.
Those memes are so funny.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Hopefully next year's good.
When do you think Secret Invasion will hit Disney Plus? My prediction is March, honestly.
See, March is a good bet. Probably gonna be like 30th of March or something. I think more like April or May.
So I feel like it was being teased as a winter show, but with unless they want to cross over with Ant-Man, like they've done, this summer, or Love and Thunder, I think was released while She-Hulk was on air, or Miss Marvel, I think was Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
I forget. Not to mention the fact that Miss Marvel interfered with Kenobi. I personally am putting my bet down for March for Secret Invasion.
Honestly, the sooner the
especially better. if Marvel is actually being serious about wanting to do better with their productions, they probably would have delayed it.
Yeah. So we'll see.
We'll see.
I want things to be good. I think we're getting like at least 2 DC films with Aquaman and The Flash. Maybe even
don't
Blue
matter
Beetle
anymore.
Shazam is coming out.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Shazam, I forgot about that too.
Fun.
Fun.
I feel like there's something like that. I don't remember. Dang it. Not happy. You can't remember.
But yeah, that's what we're looking forward to next year. Hopefully it's a good year. I'll be graduating college. Ugh. I don't get the benefits of being a college student, which there's not that many. I can't park on campus unless I call it in first. I don't have Flames Cash. I don't have a discount on Amazon Prime.
Wait. You have one as a Liberty student?
I think so. Like for Prime, if you're a student in general. you get an education discount.
Okay.
I don't know if we have Student Prime. I don't know. But
I've heard stories about people still on Prime past college. So maybe you'd be able to have it for a bit.
We'll see. My Word will expire within a year, I guess.
Okay. I have a Word thing.
Okay.
For you. You ready?
Okay.
I have a few tips. All right. So there's a time recently where I'm like, I really want to use Word, and alternatives weren't working. So I went ahead and purchased a month to use Word, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't need to keep paying for Word. So I went in to cancel. And it said, oh, we don't want to see you go. We'll give you 2 months. Like, cool. I'll take 2 more months. Probably not going to use it, but I'll take it, right?
Okay.
2 months starts to spiral up. And I go into cancel there. Oh, we don't want to see you go. We'll give you 2 months.
Okay.
So I might be in a perpetual cycle of consistently getting 2 months free Microsoft Office forever. We'll see how long it'll last. But, like, I guess the first time, I'm like, okay, cool, cute. But I was surprised the second time. So this makes me think this will be a consistent thing. Second tip I have that I have not yet tested, and I'm about to in a few days. Adobe Creative Cloud. I don't know if you're going to use it in the future. You may not. So I saw this on TikTok, and I'm going to try it soon. In a few days, when my bill is almost due. So you go into cancel. And they'll ask you, why are you canceling? And you say, too expensive. And they'll say, hey, we don't want to see you go. What if you paid half for the next year? Month to month. Half. You know how much I'm paying per month? $50. You know how much half is? $25. You know how much money I'd be saving? $300 a year. So I'm going to try that in a few days. I saw it on TikTok. So I'm hoping it's true. I'm really hoping it's true.
Yeah, because those license will likely expire by the end of the next semester, if not this semester.
So I think Word, Office, I think you have for a time. I forget what it says.
Word, I'm pretty sure I'll have for a time, but
Adobe will expire pretty quickly.
Yeah, like Audition, Photoshop, Premiere. Like, if I'm not having it for classes, I'm not gonna have it.
Yeah. So those are my tips right there.
Those are the tips. Yep. Word, I believe you can buy a thingy and you can have it for like life.
But why buy if they're giving it to me every 2 months for free?
I know, but honestly, if you could just buy it, maybe it's like a year subscription. I have no idea. But no, Word. That's why you use Google Docs.
I don't like Google Docs.
I get that. No, Word is.
I remember what I was doing. I was doing stuff with my resume. That's what I was doing.
Yeah. Resume definitely for Word. It's a more professional, like Google Docs.
Exactly.
Yeah, I use Google Docs a lot for just this random stuff. If I need to do something for podcast or the random lists I make.
Right. That I understand. Resume, you gotta go for it.
Resume from writing a play or something. Something that needs a specific format, go to Word.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
If you need to follow a page count, go to Word.
I think the Microsoft Office license lives for a year post college. I think that's what it said online, because that was kind of similar to my experience. I remember using it in April. I don't remember when I tried it; it didn't work. But
yeah, but that's the way it goes. So yeah, that's what we're looking forward to. The lack of benefits, the lack that we had thereof. I won't be able to see people as often. That's the end of our dating game.
Yep. Pretty much.
Pretty much. Yeah. What else do we want to talk about before we close off this year?
I can't really think of anything, but I'm also tired.
Yeah. Well, folks, that's it. That's the end of the year. This is our finale. Fun times. We'll get back to you when we get back to you, whether that's in March, in July, or never. Who knows? Whatever that means. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.